So we've covered our client's hair, and then we're going to take our magnetic headband and we're going to attach that around our client once she's comfortable. Now we're going to take our magnetic lash pad. We have several of them here. We're going to open. So we have one that has the lengths from 8 mm, 9 mm, 10, 11, 12, and 13. And you could also write down your thicknesses or the different styles, the different curls on the left side, and just with the dry erase marker. So you have 4 of those removable pads to store your different lengths of lashes. Another important tool that is in your bag with the disposable hair caps is your volume practice sponge. This is going to be used in our advanced classes, and maybe we'll get to it. You can practice it once you have completed your classic, how to volume fan with the mega lashes, because they are crafted so that they spread out when you pick them up with your L tweezers. So we're going to practice on that one. So don't lose this little sponge. You can keep it in with your volume supplies, which would probably be a good little safe spot in your organza bag, your Keep Calm and Love Your Lashes. You have your volume lash adhesive, which is the red cap. It's your S+, and it is 1 to 2 seconds in drying for all of your volume lashing. And so maybe we can keep that right in there so that you don't lose it for our advanced training. This is an example of what you're going to be doing with your sponges. We're going to draw eyelash lines on them, and we are going to practice doing the mega lashes, making your own volume fans in the Russian style. So this is what we need these for, and these will be great and then for you to practice until you develop your technique perfection. We have our glue rings, which I'm going to show you how, a little trick to keep your glue from drying up. You could also use a jade stone, but the latest thing and the fastest technique that's out of the way are using your glue rings. So that's what I teach you with. So we're going to take out a glue ring, and we're going to take out our tape. And here we have our lash tweezers in a case. We have our scissors, really nice fine precision scissors, a brush comb and lash comb and brush. And then we have our isolation tweezers, are the straight ones. And then we have our volume ones, and we have our classic or volume L tweezers. All 3 of those, you have what you need for advanced work. I recommend that you keep on collecting more tweezers and keep them in the case. Keep them with the little rubber tip on them so that they are not dropped and store nicely. And then we have our acetone with the cotton in the bottom, so that if we get lash adhesive on our tweezers, I'll show you here, you can easily and quickly clean them. But the tips are very, very delicate, so just one little drop will be fatal to your tweezers. So that's why I say to always keep them so that you have precision tweezers. But if they get glue on them, you can just give them a quick dip and a rinse like this off to the side of your work area, and then dry them on your paper towel or your towel, and instantly it removes all the adhesive, and they work perfect again. So when I'm working, I keep my acetone over to the side. Just to show you the different tweezers, we have our isolation tweezer in the middle, the straight one, or you could even use the hook one. Some people like that. If it's easier to come over and above, then that's excellent technique as well. And then this is our L tweezer, which we use for our volume fans and for applying the lash if you choose not to use one of the other ones. Teaching you how to use lashes, we have mix trays in your kit, which means that there are 2 rows of each size. So, or 1 row. There's 1 of 8, 1 of 9, 2 of 10, 2 of 11, 2 of 12, 2 of 13, 114, and 115 mm, which are the lengths. The thickness and the weight is 0.15, which is a good weight for classic, but not too heavy. If you have a heavier, coarser lash client, you might go up to 0.20. 0.25 is way too heavy anymore, but I prefer 0.15 in a C curl or in a D curl, which means that one is more curled. The mixed trays are $23, and the single trays, which would be all the rows are the same length. So the most popular ones, you're going to want to restock, as soon as you can, so that you have all the most popular lengths, which would be 11s, 12s, 13s, and 8 possibly. Now to open your trays, they're quite easy to open here. Open your tray, and you're going to take your pointed tweezer, your isolation tweezer, and you're going to lift up the length that you want from the right side, and it'll be like the paper row number. So you're going to take your tweezer and just kind of scrape until you get the whole row lifted up, and then you're going to apply it to the row on your lash map here that matches it. So you've got 8 mm. And now then let's do an 11. And let's put a 13, which is a nice long length, but not too long. 14 would be more for dramatic eye looks, or younger girls seem to prefer all the 14s and the 15s. But the most common length as long will be the 13. Oh. So just pull it up from the bottom right side, pull out that whole row, and then we're going to attach it down here. Now if you tend to want to go longer, you can just put them down below it. It's just an easy way, because sometimes you lose that number and you're not sure what lengths that they are. So here you can also on the left side write down the curl that they are, D curl or 15 C curl, or the weight if it's 0.20 or 0.15, because once they're off of here you can't really see them. Prepping our client, we have her already filled out her lash consent form, and we've asked the questions to see if she has any contact lenses in. She has to remove those first. So it is good to keep a little container for contact lens fluid, and to have your saline solution handy in case they forget to bring theirs. Also, we check to see if she has any allergies, sensitivities, if she's sensitive, if she's had lashes before, if she has any eye diseases or disorders. So we are going to take our, it looks like I lost one. We're going to take 2 of our microfiber applicators, And we're going to already have removed her eye makeup so that she doesn't have any eye makeup in her eyes. And we're going to have her close her eyes, and we're going to clean and swab her lashes to make sure that all the mascara and any old adhesive or makeup or eyeliner is all removed. I do this before I put on their lash pads so that their oils around the eye and the liner and the lid are totally removed. Put these aside, keep them. She might need them again. And then we're going to dry her lashes. The fans do come already charged a little bit, but there is this USB cord, and this is the jack right here that plugs in. So do plug that into your laptop, your computer, just to recharge it fully once you get it. And there is a strap if you wanted to wear this around your neck. You could keep it handy. So we're going to dry her lashes before you start. You cannot work on wet lashes. I would also comb them at this time and make sure that they're straight. If you have any twisted ones, you do want to thoroughly straighten them out and get them to dry exactly in the straight, not uncrisscrossed fashion. Now we're going to put our tweezers out. They've already been sterilized and sanitized, so please be sure that you watch the video on your sanitation procedures. Before we go to work on our client again, we are going to again clean our hands with a hand gel sanitizer in a nice scent, mild scent, so that our client knows that we have totally sterilized all of our areas and placed a clean towel or cotton Bounty paper towel underneath her head before she's laid down. I'm going to apply her eye patch, which this is hydrogel, like an aloe vera and collagen gel, moisturizing, very soothing. So there's 2 in here. Smaller side is at the inner corner. So we're going to peel off the backing. And we are going to remove the light from shining right in her eyes. Have her look up, and you want to hold this in your pincher fingers, call it, and I balance my little fingers on her sides of her face and ask her to look up, and we're going to cover up the bottom lashes so that nothing is going to get glued. This is where you might need those little microfibers. And if they do not fit her perfectly, you can take your scissors and just cut a couple of little notches in here to give you a little bit more of a bend so that they fit in and curve around more, all right, on the pad. So on this pad, let's say that we want it to fit a little bit better. And some ladies have a hooded eye or a very small eye. And so we'll show you another little trick to do with the tape. Have her look up. Cover up all the bottom lashes so that there's none going to be popping out. See how that kind of gives a little bit better of a bent. And then we're going to take some tape, our medical tape, and we're going to always make sure that you have it folded under so it's easy to open. Just going to put it on your clean hands there, about 1 inch, 4 pieces. And what I like to do is sometimes the glue still tends to stick to the iPad. So I'm going to make like an X underneath her eye to just cover. And I'll make sure her eyes are all lifted, her lashes. There we go. And then cross this one over to the center. You can't use one large piece. You have to use 2 small pieces. Now, if she has a heavy lid eye, what we're going to do is pull up her lid just to help the lash line to relax, and then attach it up over her brow. And that will give us a release and a less tight, and it will be more lifted of an eye line so that you can put your lashes on much easier. And that's how we prepare her. And now we'll start to cover our application and isolation techniques. Now we're going to practice our isolation technique. So you're going to hold with both hands a pair of tweezers. This is our isolation tweezer, unless you like to go from above, but I usually put on the lashes with my hooked one. So let's begin like this. So your dominant hand is the hand that you're going to pick up your lashes with. So we're going to use our lashes like this. Let me just move this back so you can see a little bit better. So we're going to hold the tweezer with a curve, and we're just going to pull it towards us. So I'm not sure how good you can see that. Now, the other silicone pad is what we need. So we're going to unpeel this, keep them to apply to protect it afterwards. And we're going to put it like just on her forehead or just somewhere close by so that we can, depending on if I'm working on the left side, I'll keep it on the right side, or if it's in the way, we'll put it back here, just so that you could drop those lashes and you won't have to waste any. So here I can drop my lashes and I can still place them. So you see how they will fan out and they will stay exactly where we need them, so they won't fall. So that's just if I drop them. I can still pick them up easily and grab them, and you'll notice that the curl is going upwards because the lashes sweep up. So you want to be sure that you do place them on in the curve in the right direction. This one has fallen over a little bit. So this is part of the technique that you need to practice, is applying your lashes and picking them up in the proper curl, the proper sweep. So see how this one is kind of laying down. So I find that it's a good exercise to get your hand exactly the right way that you're going to pick it up in the direction that you want it to apply in. Because if it's on its side or twisted, it's going to give you a funny looking lash. It's going to be going sideways. Okay, so we can do like this. Now we're going to take our glue ring, and since I'm applying with my dominant hand, which is, I'm actually left-handed, but I use my right hand, I'm going to put my glue ring on my left hand, and I'm going to keep my glue just positioned like this, so that it is not going to tip over, it's not going to fall, it's going to be right exactly where I need the glue to be when I pick up the lash and I dip it into my glue ring. Just going to bring this back a little bit. We're going to prep for our glue. So we're going to open up the sky glue with the black cap, and you have to shake it before using it about like 2 to 3 minutes. So black cap glue for classic, and also keep these little moisture silica pack and also your little pin to keep the nozzle from getting glue dried in it. So keep this whole package. It's a great package to store your glue in, and be sure that you're going to keep this out. You can also, if it gets hard with too much glue, you can soak it in your acetone and then put this back in the package. So we're going to shake our glue for about 2 to 3 minutes to be sure that it's really mixed up evenly. So we have our glue thoroughly mixed. We're going to tear off a little piece of tape again, and then make sure that you fold this in again so it's not so hard, not impossible to lift it up. And we're going to put 2 pieces of tape actually into that glue cup so that it helps the glue to pearl up just like a little bead, like a pea. So I like this technique better because it keeps it inside of it. And I'm going to open this. And normally I would not be working over top of my model at all. I'm just doing that for the video. And we're going to just pour it in. Don't push a lot of air into it, but just let a pearl bead up. So you see how it just plops out. Yeah. And then we're going to take a tissue and wipe off that excess, and we're going to put in the nozzle, the stopper, we're going to put back this little nozzle piece. So do that. You don't need to close it up because you probably will need more. So I like to just keep the air out of it with the pin. All right. So now we're going to take, if you're right-handed, you're going to take your isolation tweezers, the straight ones, in your left hand, and I hold them kind of like chopsticks, or with that one. If you want to use this hand, your index finger, I find that that's a little bit harder, whereas it's easier. I balance my baby finger on their forehead or on this headband, and I have the glue up here, and then you're going to just practice taking the tweezers, and you're going to isolate around, spreading the lashes so that you have exposed just one lash. So there we go, and then leave a little gap and go to the next area. So that's your first practice. This is the trick to your success in doing beautiful lashes, is spreading far away from each one lash of their own, isolating properly so that they do not get clumpy with the glue, and then balancing your pressure and the weight is on your baby finger, not on their eye. And the area that I start on is the easiest, is the middle, and I go back and forth. I leave a gap here, and then I leave here, and then in the inner, and I go back and forth, and then I go switch to the other eye. So when you're switching to the other eye, then of course I would adjust my lashes into a different area. So let's put this magnetic one over, and then put the ones that I might drop here, and then have them turn their head. And you can practice it. It'll always be harder for one eye, one side, than the other, because you have to reach across. There we go. There's one. There's one. There's two. There's one. So this is your first practice technique. You want to teach your hand how to be steady, how to not push into their eye socket, how to balance on their forehead or on the headband, and then how to pull all the other eyelashes away so that you're showing just the one, and then you can have a perfect application so that the glue is not touching and gluing 4 or 5 of them together, because then you will not be able to have a nice regrowth. They'll stick and clump and it'll show. All right, now we're going to take our lashes, and we're going to now, let's move this a little bit because I've dropped them. So you can see what I'm doing now is I have the lashes all ready to go. Now we're ready to begin. So I'm going to start with the inner corner here. So I'm going to pick up a lash, make sure I have it in the right angle. I'm going to dip just the end to get like just a little pearl bead. It'll kind of split up into 3 little tiny sections, and I will show you in person closer up, or else I'll zoom in. Isolate, and now apply just a millimeter away from their lash line. You don't want it touching their skin, but you want it at the root. There we go. And then you want to make it sweep in the right direction. Now we'll go a little bit longer. Okay, we have 3 tiny little beads. We're going to leave a gap so that we don't glue and touch while they're still wet. Okay, make sure that it is sweeping in the proper direction. Let's leave a little gap again, another 1/4 of an inch away. Let's get 1 lash. There we go. Just sit it on top. There. Isolate. Put just 1 millimeter away. Make sure that it's in the right sweeping direction. Next lash. Leave a gap so that you can come back and let those dry. There we go. Pick up some more lashes. I like to let them kind of fan out so that I pick up the curve in the right way. Let's fix that. Okay, let's pick up some of the longer ones. And then this is when we're going to get into our lash mapping. on the sections, so we're skipping sections. So that's why I'm changing lengths, because this is the center of her eye now. So I want to use the longer length. And you want to watch that you don't pinch or crimp the lash too long, too tight, because then you'll have a crease in it. So isolate so that you just get one. There we go. We have 3 tiny little beads, not one clump of glue, but just 3 tiny little beads. I think that's the lash thread that's come out there. Let's come back to the inner corner now. So we'll go back with our shorter length. Okay. So I'm resting the weight of my hand on my baby fingers. There we go. Let's pick up this other little lash that kind of fell, or I can get another one. Go, several. And let's just tip it a bit. There we go. So that the angle is the right angle. And we can also take our mascara spoolie. Let's get one of those out. And this is important now. Once we have put on 5 or 6 lashes, you want to go back and brush them so that they are not sticking to her bottom lash area or the eye pad. So always just lift them up. And we're going to just peek her into her eye, make sure that nothing's glued and that they are lifted. I tell her never to open her eyes, but you are just going to kind of peek. But just tell her to keep your eyes closed though. Because if you start them opening their eyes, the fumes maybe. This is low fume, but you will have start to get some tearing. I'm just going to get rid of this like little lash. This is from the fake eyelashes, my practice lash set. It's bothering me. We can switch to the other eye. Alright, so that's the beginning of our steps. And this is why we usually put 2 pieces of tape so that it doesn't soak in. It's very dry in here because it is winter time. So in the winter you will need to put several pieces of tape and maybe a humidifier. Or run your steamer, because you need it to have less dryness. The humidity helps it to dry fast. Otherwise you're going to get where the glue is not going to dry quite as fast. Alright, so let's isolate. How are you doing with your isolations? Let's pick up this other lash. So make sure that you grab it with your hand so that the curve is a nice curve here. And then we're going to dip into the glue and isolate. If you're slow on isolating, then it's best to isolate first and then dip the lash in your adhesive. So you have 3 tiny little beads. Let's see if you can see this here. Oops, let me get this in there. Focus. Maybe you can see if it's on my hand. Do you see how those little 3 tiny little beads? There we go. Isolate, spread them out. Adhere it to the base of the lash, but not hitting the skin. Even it out, tilt it over so that it's going a nice sweeping motion, not laying down. Pick up the next lash, dip, and isolate. But like I say, if it takes you too long to isolate, then isolate first and then place the lash. If this happens where they fall down, there you go, just stand it up. Okay, so this time let's isolate first. So let's get a little lash here, then apply the glue, and then that might give you more time to work. This adhesive gives you 4 to 5 seconds. The volume one dries in 1 to 2, so you have to be experienced by the time you use it. But I love it because it's almost like it magnetizes the lash, pulls it in. Okay, let's leave a space so that those can dry. Go. So we have about 11 on there now. So lashes per eye is LPE, and you need to perfect so that you can get at least 80 lashes per eye. 60 is a light natural look. 40 is a little skimpy. 30 is not acceptable. So we have maybe almost 20, 15 to 20 right now. So, and you can see how it looks skimpy. Now take a little lash mirror, a hand mirror, and you're going to look from underneath, and you can adjust it so that you can see from your angle to see how many and how even that they are and how it's going to look when their eyes are open. But keep their eyes shut. You don't want to open them while you're still, until the glue is all bonded. Alright, so now we're going to keep on going. So find your technique. Also make sure that you comb them and brush them, and that nothing is stuck to her bottom lashes or the pad, the tape, and also that they are all separated so that there's no glue touching each other, the other lashes next to them. You want to apply one lash extension onto one of their eyelash, in each of their eyelashes. So keep going until you do all of their eyelashes. And if you run out of time, the best way to work is to work on the left side and the right side, then the right side and then the left side, and go back and forth so that you have an equal amount of lashes on there and it's not taking you too long. So now we could start to work on the right eye. So let's just stand up our lashes here. Let's isolate. We're going to start in the middle to the outer corner and let's just move our glue ring up a bit so it's not dripping. Yep. There we go. We've got one lash isolated. And, oops, I just have my hand in the way here. Isolate one lash, spread them out, place, and make sure it's not laying to the side. Let's do shorter ones, so leave a gap so that they don't get glued to each other. Do the inner corner. Another one of the shorter length. Stand it up so it's not laying down. Leave a gap so that they're not touching. And if it's laying down, stand it up before it dries. There we go. Okay. Just one, not two, not three. There we go. Pull some more lashes out. I don't think you can see what I'm doing here, but pulling a few off so that they're on my silicone pad in the right hold. If you have too much glue, if it goes into clumps, then just wipe it off gently, quickly. Pick up those little lashes that you might have dropped. If they're on the pad, then you can still use them. Go back to the inner corner. Just keep on staggering it so that you have enough time to get them all brushed and dried. And then we'll do a medium length in the middle as they start to get longer. So medium length ones, these are the 11 mm. Oops. If you drop them and they've already been glued, then get a new one. Okay, there we go. or longer. And then let's lift and separate. It's very important that you do this to make sure that they're not stuck underneath. That one was a little bit. If you lose a couple, then you know that they weren't glued on enough. So that's fine, just brush those away. Okay, and then proceed, keep on going. You are done with the row. If you have some left over, just pull them off and put it back in the length that they go. And another thing that might be good to keep on hand is a little bit of double-sided tape, just so that then if you do lose the stickiness, you can clean this off with acetone. And you can take some double-sided tape and just cut this to replace the tape, the little bit of stickiness under the rows. I would just clean that off. Okay, and then close up your trays and you're all set.